morning. It's Sunday morning, and we are here with Silence Breaker Sundays. I am not Carl. I am Jess, and I'm in terrible light because I'm in Los Angeles. I'm not in my home right now, but I'm filling in for him. We sent him to Philly today to learn more about America so that we could continue to solve all the problems on Silence Breaker Sundays. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just joining us for the first time, Silence Breaker Sundays is a bunch of artists getting together around the world via the internet to have great conversations about tough issues that affect us surrounding violence. So thanks for being here, and join in. Give us a shout out, say hi in the comments. Also just, join in on the conversation and tell us what you think as we talk today. But right now we are going to introduce our awesome panelists. This is the first time I'm using this software, so I'm going to just really hope that this works. Oh, there's Sean. Did I do it? No, I didn't do it. Wait, and here's Nick. Nope, that didn't work either. Guys, the worst. Just keep watching me while I try to figure this out. I did it!
Oh, hey.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey. Good.
Good. Let me introduce everybody. This is Nick Coleman, one of my favorite actors, filmmakers, and the only other person I ever love to geek out about technology with. Hi, Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. And this is Sean Doherty joining us for the first time. He's fresh off of a cruise ship. Welcome home.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I really felt compelled to say, hey, kitty girl, it's your world. Because I want to be RuPaul. Okay, great. Awesome. Perfect. So guys, welcome to Silence Breaker Sundays. Thanks for joining us. And there goes that music. That was really elegant. So today, guys, we are going to chat about the school shooting that happened this week. I'm sure you heard about it. It was pretty horrific. And obviously, since we talk about violence on the show, Carl and I, got together and said, we have to talk about this. But we're not going to debate gun control because I'm sure everybody's been doing that all week. And it's a never-ending kind of loop. So what we're going to do today is, I think, have a chat about what we can do as artists concretely to help affect the culture change. And to start things off, I just wanted to give you a little context about why I told Carl we should talk about this.
Sure.
Yeah. So basically, I made myself, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I made myself watch the video that the teacher shot in the classroom before they got out. Yeah. And it's awful. The thing that struck me, I think, when I was watching it was that if people were able to feel how real that was, the way I did when I watched that video, we wouldn't be having as many rhetoric debates. We'd be talking about actually what to do to stop these, those screaming children and that crazy carnage that you saw in the video. And of course, my brain jumped to artists because that's what we do, right? We make stuff that makes people have empathy or understand someone else's position. So Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I think maybe though, to start off that conversation, how did you guys, what have you been thinking about this week as you processed all this information as working artists and as human beings, obviously?
Well, first of all, I am friends with a lot of people from rural parts of America, the Midwest, that fall into a different place than I do on gun control. So I've been trying to listen to what is going on in their communities and what they have to say, because to me, that's always what we have to do whenever we're talking about trying to enact change, is to listen to the people that are resistant to it so that we can better understand what to do about it. And people that I know that are very pro-gun have strong reactions to these shootings as well, emotional reactions. They feel terrible too. So I find that encouraging, but then it just sort of makes me puzzled about what steps to take to try and tie into that emotional feeling that people are having,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of an endless frustrating cycle, it seems like, where it seems like I find everyone saying, we have another shooting, and what are we supposed to do? And everyone goes to the same cycle of like, what are we going to do about it? And we all talk about it, and then nothing changes, and then it happens again. And so this week, I've just been kind of finding myself frustrated with that.
I think that funny enough, I think it's an exciting week to be having this conversation. It kind of popped up totally unexpectedly, but because Anna Devere Smith's show is about to, her stage show, Notes from the Field, is about to debut on HBO. And she's been all over everything this weekend. And if you don't know who Anna Devere Smith is and you're an artist watching this, go look her up. I'm going to pop quiz later. But she's a great example of, and not that everyone's going to go out and create a play, but she's been spending decades basically using the power of art to create a little distance between the emotion of the issue and the issue, so that people can think about it from other people's viewpoints and process their own feelings on it. Notes from the Field is specifically about what she calls the school to jail pipeline, right? Like underserved, poor communities and all of that stuff. But like, that's what's cool about art, is that when you go in a theater, you sit in that audience and you watch something like Notes from the Field, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like someone's attacking you with ideas. You're watching this play, but then you go home and think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how art sort of makes a big difference, isn't it? You can go to a church for a sermon. You can go to a political event for an oration or a lecture. And both of those things are sort of people talking at you. And art's a different thing because it invites you in to hear a perspective or to listen to a story. And more than anything else, to feel it. And I think that's where change happens, is it's not through a logical processing of things. It's through an emotional processing things. And art's the only thing that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really exciting opportunity for us, because I think, like Sean said, sometimes we feel like, well, we're not running for politics. We don't have big checks we can write to, you know, places. But man, that's something we have access to that no one else does.
Yeah.
You can make someone feel an emotion and hopefully inspire change that way. I found that, like, for me, some of the most powerful revisiting of certain ideas that I've had in the past have come from theatrical experiences. Like, I remember seeing The Normal Heart for the first time on Broadway, and I, as a very young, positive man at the time, I had no idea what I was getting into. And I walked out saying, like, oh, I need to know more about gay history. I need to know more. And it changed completely how I've viewed my life, especially now as an out queer person.
That's awesome. You guys, anybody who's watching and on the Facebook feed, if you pop in there and tell us what has been a theatrical experience that did that for you, the same thing that it did for Sean, seeing The Normal Heart. What have you seen that made you think more, dig in more to a topic, change your mind? I'm curious. It would be amazing actually to have like a cool list of sort of theater over the decades, you know what I mean? That's made a big difference.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw the Normal Heart revival, you know, with Joe Mantello, and I literally had to excuse myself afterwards. I was sobbing so hard. I was like snotting. And then there was this 90-year-old gay couple there at the talkback afterwards that had finally gotten married. And I was just like, bye.
Yep. I cried for about 20 minutes after the show, which I think was the first time that ever happened to me. And I think I came out like a month later. It was something that I like watched, and I was like,
wow,
so many people went through so much to and like so many people sacrificed so much for our right to express ourselves, and it's like, well, it inspired me to do at least my first step in that.
That's amazing.
But to find something that could do something like that for gun control would be amazing. Whereas I don't think I personally have seen something that has been in respect to gun control, at least on stage.
Isn't Columbinus about that? Or did I make that up? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I can't remember. But well, actually, there was just a show at the Public. What was it called? Office Hours. And it was about a professor talking a kid out of shooting, a school shooting.
Wow.
And, you know, I feel like there are different ways to approach it, too, that aren't necessarily about just saying, oh, here's a pro-gun control stance, or here's a pro-Second Amendment stance. To me, one of the most effective plays that I've ever seen about people having conversations after the play was Oleana.
Oh, yeah.
Because in that play, you get no clear perspective on who's right and who's wrong. So it's as though the author of the play took himself completely out of the conversation about who's right and wrong. And it forced audience members afterwards to talk to each other about what they saw and how they interpreted it, and then who's right and wrong. And so it's this great conversation starter in a way that a perspective of an artist saying you're wrong maybe wouldn't work.
That's cool. The cool thing about art too is that we tend to ask questions. I mean, it's even a little bit like this show, right? We were just like, well, what can we proactively do to help, you know, drive conversations and productive conversations. And what we do every Sunday is we get on here and we ask a bunch of questions. And we're like, that's complicated. In fact, someone, Carissa, who was on a couple weeks ago, I was having dinner with her last night, and she said to me, she was on the episode about Aziz Ansari. Right. And she said, I was so relieved to find out that that was you, Nick, right? You and Jermaine? Were you on that?
I wasn't there that week. Jermaine was.
Jermaine and whomever else was on that episode. I was so relieved to find out they were conflicted about his situation. And I was like, oh, I wish you had said that on the episode, because that's what we need to be doing more of, you know? Right. So we could write plays, and lots of people are in a position to, you know, create these incredible stories, but let's talk about like some more lo-fi stuff that we can do as artists. Did anybody watch Bill Maher this weekend?
I haven't seen it,
The president, they're the former president of Mexico, Vicente, I can't remember his last name, was on. Mm-hmm. And he said something really interesting that I noted down, because I was like, this is so relevant. Bill Maher said, like, you've gone viral, obviously, with your tweets and all of that stuff. Like, how did you do it? How do you feel about it? It's so effective. And he said, when you feel something authentically and you feel passionate about it and you speak the words that are true, it will come across and people will flock to it. And yeah. I think it's really relevant for us because, like, in a normal world, he just happens to be really funny. You know what I mean? But guess what? So that's exactly where we all sit. You know what I mean? So, like, your tweets can make a difference if you are entertaining and telling a story, but also expressing what you feel about an issue like this.
Or amplifying voices that maybe you feel like you don't have a good voice on this subject, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can certainly amplify the voices of other people and not be afraid to agree with voices that are important to you in the face of other people, because that's another thing that causes change, is whenever people around you witness you having a stand or taking a stand, then they feel more empowered to do the same thing. So artists can do that. We can decide, am I trying to share my perspective? Am I trying to share and amplify the perspective of somebody else? Am I trying to drive empathy in a group of people that I'm trying to encourage to change? So you can sort of pick your tactic instead of feeling like you have to be an aggressor. You can be something else, you know?
Yeah, that's actually the kind of struggle that I face, is that I often find myself not expressing my views explicitly on the internet. I usually I keep like any sort of political opinions to myself, unless it's something that I feel incredibly passionate about. And every once in a while I will say something, but not after I've like written it out, sent it to 10 friends being like, I'm not out of line, am I? And I'm very like careful about it. And, but I do find myself, I will like you said, I like how you say amplify the voices of people you agree with, because I do think there are people that are more knowledgeable on the subject and can express themselves in a more educated way than myself. And then I like sharing those views.
That's a really thoughtful way to go about it, I think, which is really nice. Obviously, in the like era of people not being particularly thoughtful about the way they provide feedback. I just lost my train of thought. What was I thinking about with the tweets and stuff?
I think people might be surprised at how simple a piece of content can be. You know, when we think about like being an artist and doing something about it, especially people that come from the theater, we think production, you know, and then we think, oh, that's going to be really hard. I think one of the most effective pieces on gun control that I have seen was this, like, it must have been, I don't even think it was 30 seconds long video. There was this angry guy. You see him walking into an office and you see that he's angry and upset. And you see from the people around him that he must have a gun, because they start reacting to him and freaking out. And he pulls up his gun and fires a shot, but it's a musket.
Yeah.
So he misses. Everyone has time to get away while he's forced to reload this musket. And it was maybe 15 or 20 seconds long. And it completely made the point of the artist or the group behind it about wanting to reduce magazine capacities in rifles. But it was a 15-second thing.
Right.
Yeah. So simple.
And that's what I actually, you said exactly what I was going to get at, is like your way. It's just finding a way in that isn't like immediately, well, to do anything, I have to put on this huge show, right? It's like what you just said, decide what it is you want to get across, or your viewpoint, whatever you want to amplify, the point you want to make, and then just do something, whether that's writing a tweet about it, whether that's combing through Twitter, and I don't know why I said it like that, and finding something to do a Sean and retweet with funny commentary on. If it's to just, I know I can get a bunch of people together on Sunday mornings to have a conversation, go find the stuff. I mean, there are varying levels of complexity to what we can do as an artist, but at the very, very easiest, writing a good joke that people will make people laugh and make a good point, is a talent and is effective.
So Sean, I'm curious, do you have a group of artists that you get together with on a regular basis at all to discuss ideas? Is that something that you do?
Well, personally, no, especially now I'm in such an interesting position right now because I've been out of the city and floating on a boat for almost a year. So I'm getting back in now that I have some time, I find myself wanting to be just more actively involved in especially like I was saying earlier, I want to be more involved as a queer artist, since that's something I've been trying to look into. So I've been actually looking for groups and stuff like that, and that was why I kind of wanted to be more involved this year with stuff like this. But I don't really have a focused group or anything like that. That I would just be do you guys want to get together and do something? Because it's
people here, and we're saying yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard for so many people here because everyone's desperately trying to pay rent, and so everyone's super busy, and it's hard to get everyone in the same room. And so when I got back, one of the things that I want to do is be okay, I'm back. I saved some money. I don't have to go back to work right away. And how can I use this time productively in a way where I can create some stuff, and if it can be for any sort of good cause, it's even better.
Do you, Nick? Do you have a group like that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of creative communities that I belong to where with one of them, it's actors. We get together on a weekly basis to sit and chat with each other about things that are important to us, what we're working on. And then as a writer, I have another group that I get together with once every 3 weeks, and we talk about the projects that we're working on. And to me, just being a voice to my friends on the projects that they're inspired on can be really helpful, because sometimes I feel a little bit creatively expended, I just have kind of used up my creativity for right now. but I feel like I can still empower my friends that are really feeling it right now. I have one friend, Rebecca, that is an activist, and she's just amazing at it. And I don't feel that same sort of creativity that she has around these things, but she's writing some songs right now about DACA recipients, and I feel like I can be a voice for her of encouragement around that area. And that's another way as artists that we can be helpful too, is just getting involved in the nitty gritty of other people's stuff and not feeling like we have to be the leader in it. So that's why I was asking is I feel like I can be helpful in that area, even whenever I'm not rah, let's go.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my thing, is that the kind of stuff that I found myself successful in creating isn't exactly it's mostly more personal, not political, not grand scheme things, but I love being a part of those sort of things. And I usually just kind of to be able to help out in a way that isn't necessarily behind the creative side of it, but behind just joining in and supporting them in what they're doing. That's something I'd be very happy to do.
So I feel like I didn't mean to do this, but this is such a good opportunity to tell everybody, including you guys, about something that's coming up in New York on March 3rd, right. Nick's exact point. And this is really exciting. So idealist.org, which is the biggest job board for volunteer and nonprofit job opportunities in the world, they are organizing the first International Idealist Day on March 3rd, which is a Saturday. And so at this current juncture, there's over 500 people who have committed to hosting an Idealist Day in their communities. And what the Idealist Day is they literally said, just open your doors to your church, your community school, your home, whatever it is, invite people over to play games and have some conversations, initial conversations about your community and what you want to do in it with a small group of people. And so we sort of jumped in over here at Broadway Unlocked, because obviously a lot of the work we do is community-based and stuff like that. And so I reached out to some of my favorite organizations that are artist-led or artist-supported, including Muse Match, which is this incredible concert series. Yeah, that Bill Coyne does over at 54 Below, and each of their concerts raises money for a different charity. Ring of Keys, headed up by Andrea Prestinario, incredible new collective committed to advancing opportunities for queer, gender fluid, and trans artists in the theater. and the Artist Co-op, which is this amazing new co-working space and rehearsal space in Midtown on 10th Avenue that Rachel Berger founded, that provides a really great community and home for artists to be able to rehearse with some dignity. As opposed to some of the other rehearsal spaces. And so we're all coming together to host this Idealist Day on March 3rd. And it's going to be at 3 p.m. at the Artist Co-op. And it's specifically for exactly what we were talking about. We have room for 50 people to come. We're going to play games. And most of all, I think, like you just said, Sean, introduce people like us to each other and get together to have some conversations and talk about some of the work that all of us do, you know, as artists and as activists or just as volunteers or whatever it is, so that we can start connecting everyone together.
Now, if there are people that are listening to this and they aren't in New York, but they think that's a cool idea, they can go somewhere to maybe host one themselves. Is that something that I understand can happen? Yeah,
absolutely. So if you're watching this and you want to host an Idealist Day, it's idealist.org/act. I knew that off the top of my head, by the way. I can't believe that. But yes, you can host. So there's over 500 hosts in 25 countries and 49 states as of last time. North Dakota falling short on Idealist Day, but hopefully they'll join in. And if you're in New York City, look out on our Facebook page. Tomorrow, we'll be releasing a video that Nick Coleman and I made together with our friends from Muse Match and Ring of Keys and the Artist Co-op. That'll be coming out tomorrow with like a link so you can sign up to come play with us on Idealist Day. I'm really excited because I think, you know, these people who run these organizations, they're incredible artists. They've worked all over. They're no joke. You know what I mean? Like, these are people who work in the theater, and they're also driving opportunities to improve our community. And I know there's more people out there like us. You know what I mean? And I want to work with those people, you know, like in my life. Right.
And sometimes, even whenever you're feeling like you're in a position, Sean, you're on a boat, right, in the middle of the ocean most of the time. Like, how could you possibly get a group of people together? But I bet you're not the only artist on the boat.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, right. And it was a struggle to sometimes it was a struggle to even like keep up with what was happening in the world, because I ended up spending too much money on the internet, but I would find that I would be like days behind in like news things. People would be like, "Oh, this happened." I'd be like, "I didn't even know." So I still kind of feel like I'm having my own personal Kimmy Schmidt experience from like back, and I'm like, nah. It's been like readjusting, and so any sort of like joining in with a group or anybody like that sounds great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was an accidental plug for Idealist Day with Broadway Unlocked, Ring of Keys, and Muse Match. And this has wandered a little away, obviously, from the school shooting, but that's exactly how these conversations were meant to go. And I think the real thing that I would love everybody to walk out of here with and to join in the comments afterwards about is to do a little more brainstorming. Like, what's one thing you can do this week? One thing, even like we said, if it's a tweet or a Facebook post, or it's having one conversation with a family member in a different state to understand their perspective. What is one thing you can do this week to help make some kind of positive change, you know, in the wake of what happened? So go ahead.
That was kind of one of the things I was thinking about as we were coming to do this, is that I was like, when I'm just like me, have like my people that I can reach, and for that, most of the time, if I create any content, it's going to people who are usually pretty like-minded to me. And so it's like, how do I create art that will get out to people who maybe don't see the same way as me? Like, what can I do to change that? And so that was kind of like the jump that I was trying to make, is that I tweeted 2,000 people that choose to follow me, and so they can kind of know what they're getting into.
Right.
Whereas like but like, I have family members this morning. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing this morning?" I was like, "Oh, I'm actually like doing this live stream about like artists' response to gun control." And they have to be very they're from the Midwest. They own guns. They're like, and so like there's like, "Oh," they're like, "I should watch that," and they're like, and I was like, "Oh, great." It was like, I would love to hear another opinion. I was like, "Great, perfect." Then that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Sometimes I think, I mean, I keep saying our biggest, like, we have this gift as artists, but really, if I had to choose my favorite and most effective gift as an artist, it's that, like, the first thing you get taught when you're in acting school is the bad guy never thinks he's the bad guy. Whatever, is the bad guy, right? Like, and that's something you have to be a master of understanding to be a great actor. And so what that means is that I understand that people have very valid perspectives that are very different from mine, and they're not bad people. I just don't understand enough about why they feel that way. So hopefully people will watch this because, you know, we're willing to like open up and say like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
Yeah. And you don't have to feel the responsibility to be the person that reaches out to the other side either. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being the artist that encourages and cheers on your perspective and opinion too, because we need that as well. People that are out there marching for something that you believe in, they're going to feel at some point that what they're doing isn't working, or they're going to feel tired, or they're going to feel unmotivated. And you never know, the thing that you make might be the thing that makes someone say, you know what, I'm going to get up and go today, even though I was thinking that I wasn't going to.
Yeah. It's actually like I'm reading a book called How to Survive a Plague right now, which is about the AIDS crisis. And they talk about Larry Kramer and how he wrote The Normal Heart at the time. And Larry Kramer was actually attacked by all of his colleagues consistently for being so loud and so aggressive in his manner of doing things. And he actually stopped doing it for a while. They went back to him years later and were like, we need you to kind of help us out with this thing. And he was just like, I'm the person that yells. Like, sometimes you need the person that yells. Sometimes you need the person that's going to run in, like rustle up a bunch of people and get them to talk. And now you look back and he like made huge change. But at the time, he was actually incredibly criticized for the way he handled things.
So I have a final question because we're running out of time, but jumping off of that. All right. So Larry Kramer's the guy who yells. That's how he made a difference. Sean, sounds like you're the guy who like writes very, very funny, like things that catch people's attention, right? I obviously tend to be the person that collects and brings people together. Nick, who are you? What's your place in all of this?
I'm a facilitator. I help people achieve and realize this stuff that they have envisioned. That's what I do.
That's so true. I was just telling someone that about you. That's amazing. Okay, you guys. So anybody else that's watching, I see. Hi, Eric. Hi, Jalen. Hi, Marissa. Hi, in Chicago. How are you? So anybody else that's watching, who are you? What do you do in your community? How do you fit into that role? Who are you, and what's your strength in terms of like being able to affect change? If you're not the yeller or you're not the funny tweeter or whomever, what are you? Let us know. I'm actually really curious about this. And we're out of time. So we got to continue this conversation in the comments on Facebook. There's lots to talk about. And tune in every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. EST for Silence Breaker Sundays. And if you want to join in and have a conversation with us, let us know. We got room for 4 people on this panel. So we'd love to have you. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are the best. Bye.
Bye.
Maybe. Nope.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us this week. Thanks, Jess, for an awesome job hosting. Can we just? Yes, Jess. Okay, anyways, make sure you subscribe to our video. Make sure you set your notifications on Facebook so that every time we go live, they're like, hey, Silence Breaker Sundays is live. Because we know you want to know, and we want you to know, and so take care of it. Like our video, like our YouTube page, share us, add your voice in the comments, and we'll see you here live next week. Bye, guys.